Hi, good morning, good evening. As per your time zone, I'm Kumkum Sharma. I am Agile enthusiast. I would like to host the webinars, share knowledge with everyone, and we want to make this webinar more than a webinar. That's why we are on this platform where you can unmute and ask your questions. So, first of all, on the behalf of entire Bridge team, I would like to thanks to all and welcome you here in this webinar, Mastering Jira for Agile Project Management. And we have with us Nagapadmini. Thanks, Padmani, for joining us for this session. And let me introduce Padmani. Padmani brings nearly 15 years of experience in the IT industry. She has a strong background in agile coaching, consulting, project management, design thinking, Atlassian tools, metrics automation, and change facilitation. Over the year, Padmini has taken on diverse roles across technology, process, product, and people function, giving her well-rounded understanding of the industry. She's passionate about continuous learning and actively sharing as well her knowledge by contributing in agile and project management communities. Thank you, Padmini. Over to you. Please unmute and just let us know how you would like to start the session.
Thanks, Kumkum. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon, good morning, from whichever part of the globe you're joining. Um, so, as Kumkum has already briefed about me, so I will not take much time to introduce myself. As you know, I'm an agile coach and consultant with 15 years of experience, and I've worked on various roles in technology, people, process, and product areas. So today's session, which is about mastering Jira for Agile Project Management, as the title says, but Jira is very, very vast. It has multiple and many capabilities, and we just can't master Jira within 1 hour. So I would try to talk about Jira's capabilities which we could leverage for Agile Project Management, specifically for Scrum ways of working. So apart from that, I would like to say that this would not be a technical session on Jira, meaning like we'll not do a deep dive or explore the capabilities of Jira in and out. So the focus will be more on Scrum ways of working, specifically how we can use different capabilities of Jira. And I'm trying to use a free version of Jira so that the audience or the participants, even if you are new to Jira, you can watch back this recording and then do a hands-on yourself. So that is the main aim of this webinar. And second thing is we have a question and answer slot at the end, maybe for 15 to 20 minutes. So I would request all of you to write down your questions, whatever you get questions during the session. Please write it down on a notepad, and then maybe once the slot comes, then you can unmute or you can put in the chat. If you start putting the questions right away, maybe during the discussion, because I want this to be a very engaging and interactive session, so I would ask some questions and people might start answering, and your question might get lost in the chat. So please keep it to the end. And as far as possible, I'll try to answer all the questions. And if not, then we can take it further. You can connect with me on my LinkedIn or mail ID, or you can write to Kumkum and we can discuss further. I request all of you to be on mute during the session, at least for the next 45 minutes, because this is a recording session. Okay, so before that, I would like to understand the audience composition, like who's working as what, who has exposure on Jira or Atlassian. So I would request Kumkum to launch a poll. It's a very small survey kind of poll. So it will just take 2 minutes. So I request everybody, I can see 65 participants currently. So please take this poll so that I get an understanding about the composition of audience. Yeah, I already see people are responding in the chat, saying that they're new to Jira and all. But still, please take the poll.
Launching the poll. There
Yeah.
you go.
Okay, so there are, I think, 5 questions. In the interest of everybody, I would just read it. I think it might have popped on your screen already. So, what's your current role? if you're a Scrum Master or a project manager, based on the options, you can just choose. And then the second question is, have you used Scrum framework anytime in your career, in any of your projects? And then, have you worked on Atlassian tools anytime in your career? And if you have used any Atlassian tools, then what was it?
Come on, guys, take the poll. Still, I have only 45%, 49% participant, 55, 60. Come on, guys, 70, 75%. Oh my God. 80%. Okay, guys, I'll just end the poll in few seconds. It's 83. 86%. Few more, guys. Take the poll. I think few more joined, so that's why it's increasing as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't worry, I'm not going to ask any questions based on the poll, so you can. Yeah, I see some people responding that they have using
Yeah.
ADO as well. Yeah. So I'll tell you the reason why we have scheduled this webinar is we had been getting a lot of questions on the usage of tools with respect to project management. How do we do it? And some might be inclined towards Jira, some might be working on ADO, some might be working on ServiceNow, some on Zendesk, or some other tools. So there are a lot of questions like how do we do it? How do we do it on the other tool? Which one is better? And also we thought let's start with one tool. So currently we are doing Jira, specifically Jira software. Maybe in the future sessions we'll do ADO and others as well. So that's the reason. Yeah. Kumkum, did you stop the poll?
Still, I have 85% results, but I am ending the poll, guys. I'll
Yeah.
just count three. If you are finishing, just finish your poll. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to end the poll. Okay. Padmini, you want the results now or later?
Let's see the results. Yeah. Okay. So I can see that I'm not sure if others can also see, but at least I can see that the current role, 68% of the people are Scrum Masters, project managers, as expected. That's last percentage from project management. Then product owners and business analysts, 9%. Okay, developer, tester, 6%. Other roles, 17%. So other roles, people who have opted for other roles, maybe you can type in the chat what are your roles, so that I get an understanding what does other role mean. And then have you used Scrum framework? 85%, very good. Yeah. And then Atlassian tools, 83% have used. That's nice. Which Atlassian tool? I think 78% have already used Jira, some flavor of Jira. Confluence, 53%. Now I'm wondering why these people have come to this webinar when they have already used the tool. Okay. Okay. Rating the webinar. Okay. We have not yet completed, so fine. Okay, let me read the chat before I start. ADO is a new wave now. Yes, yes. But Jira is also giving a tough competition. So there. Okay. Operations manager wanted to switch to product manager role, which says infrastructure manager or TPM. I'm understanding that it's technical program or project manager. Harshita is program manager. Gunaseelan, I did not understand your comment. Just to recap, if you're asking me to recap, then we just did a poll until now, and the reason why we are doing this session, that was the background. We haven't started yet. So yeah, I think it's 5:10. So let's start. I'll just share my screen. Let me know if you can. Nice. Okay. Can you all see my screen? Can Can you thumbs up? Kumkum, if you could let me know.
Yes, yes.
Okay, great. So in case in between, if you uh, in
Um,
case, yeah,
I think we are not able to see your screen. I think you're sharing
sorry,
that wrong.
yeah,
Yeah, now it's PPT.
yes,
Okay.
yes, yeah. So I was just reading the comment what Gunasilan has. Just to recap, okay, got it. I got it. So Gunasilan is saying that they want to recap about Jira, and that's the reason they have joined this webinar. Glad to know that. Okay, yeah, and I'm still sharing my Zoom thing. Correct. Okay. So what we are doing now is we'll be taking a case study or a very simple scenario, and then we'll try to map it into Jira rather than deep diving into Jira directly and trying to understand the different capabilities. We'll take a scenario of working in a Jira project in Scrum ways of working. So I want answers from all of you. How do you see a backlog structure in your project? How do you generally organize the backlog in your project? You can type in the chat. I'm reading the chat. I'll be toggling between the two screens, Zoom and the PPT and Jira for the later thing. Okay, we use video. Okay. um, what is Pushpendra, what is BI? Can you tell me? Business initiative or something? BI, epic, story, and task. Okay. uh, that's better. Yeah. Okay, Samir is saying epic features stories. Murli Kumar is saying WSJF. Okay, I'm asking the hierarchy. I'm not asking the method which you used to break down. Okay, most of them are saying that it's epic feature story task. Interesting comment. But the comments are coming fast. I work in SAP project. We track the standard scope items in Excel for standard and custom. Okay, Srikanth is saying that. Okay. So you don't use any tool. That is what you mean, Srikanth. Okay, Srikanth is also saying epic, sub-epic, features, story, tasks. Okay, okay. Abhay is saying initiatives, epic, user story, tasks. Okay. Bharat is saying epic features, PBI. PBI, I understand product backlog items. Okay. Sachin Raichur, he's saying themes, initiatives, epics, features, user story, tasks, subtasks. My God, such a big hierarchy. Okay, great. So good answers, good number of answers. So let us see in general how a project is structured. Yeah. So I'm taking a very simple scenario. Let's take an e-commerce project because most of us, I think these days, we use a lot of online shopping apps, right? Even the grocery apps are now like online shopping apps. So let's take a very simple e-commerce project. And now in that, I'm assuming that there are multiple modules. Now you can take it as a technical module or as functional module. Now I'm considering this as a functional module like sign up, login, product details, and so on. So it can be n number. And now I'm not uh, considering that this project is of certain tenure. I'm not talking whether it is a fixed price, fixed cost, or whether it is a T&M. I'm not talking of anything. I'm just talking of the project. I'm not even talking it as a product. Okay, this is a project which I'm doing, and I have different modules. And based on the functionality, I'm trying to categorize them as different modules. One is sign up. Now, under the sign up, I have something like I initially have to give my credentials, I have to sign up, and then there displays a page. And after that, I navigate to the login page or maybe my account page. So something like that. So different functionalities. And as a part of this, I may also have to interact with the third party, apps or APIs and all those stuff. So there are multiple functionalities under each of these, under each of these modules. So when I say FUNC, it is functionality here. So I'm assuming that there are multiple functionalities. And when I'm doing this project, I may also get some risk. I anticipate few risks which may happen, like somebody, the capacity is not there, or maybe some technical issue, technical debt, and all those stuff. And then there may be impediments which stop the work, and I am not able to proceed with certain work. And also, when I deliver something, I put some in my staging environment or UAT environment. I see that bugs coming up or defects coming up, and I have to work on that as well. So, this is the general backlog structure of any project in general. You can have other types as well. So, now when we are mapping this into our Jira, how do we do that? So, we first create a Jira project. The essential thing of any backlog structure is to have a base, that is your Jira project. So here is a Jira project which I have created ECP, and then for each and every module here, okay, say sign up or login, I am trying to create an epic. Now, like what you have said, you have initiatives, you have themes, or you have features. So it depends upon the organization and the client how they want to define the hierarchy. But my hierarchy here is starting with epic. And then again, the functionalities, I'm just breaking down into stories. And I may even go to the next sub level, that is subtask, or sometimes maybe it is a one time activity. So I can use just a task. So mostly stories are used where you want to do typical development activities. They are dependent on each other, and you want to have a continuity of the functionality flow. You do it as a story. But when you have a one-time activity, like you're doing some cutover activities for your production, so on, then you may use a task issue type. So whenever you have a defect, you use bug, and whenever there is a risk and blocker, use the appropriate types in this. Now, here on the slide. Okay, so now let's, because most of you, I think about 80% work in Scrum already from the poll results. So in Jira, when you have a project, what you can do is you can have your releases created already. And let's not go deep into the technicalities of DevSecOps or CI/CD pipelines and all. I'm just talking a very simple thing of releases, how to create a release, and then how to tag your themes or initiatives or features. In my case, it is epics. I can just tag the epics or stories to these releases, and then each release is then broken down into iterations, or in Scrum, it is sprints. So we have sprints, and then in each sprint, we have a sprint planning, right? And then we have a daily Scrum, maybe 15 to 30 minutes. Then we have a retro at the end of the sprint. And then we have, we have a review, and then we have a retro, right? And then there's a backlog refinement, which keeps on happening. Like you prioritize your backlog items, you refine them, you decide what to go into the next 2 or 3 sprints, and all those stuff. So now talking with respect to Jira capabilities. So right from the start, you see releases. We have a timeline view, we have a release section, we have a version reporting, and all those things where you can see what's happening at the release level. And then for your backlog view, you can use your timeline view again, you can use your backlog view, you can prioritize, you can push things into different sprints. You have your report section to understand what's happening across your backlog. You can use your cumulative chart, control chart, and all that. So we'll be looking at all those things. You can also use your dashboards, which I'll be showing sometime. And now coming to the main events of the sprint, for planning, we would be using the active sprints and the backlog view. Daily Scrum, I think you all know that we will be using the Scrum board, right? And also some of the metrics like burn up, burn down chart and all. Then in review, very important thing, the working increment. Plus, we also use the board to understand how things have progressed. Are there any risks or any blockers? What are the spillovers to the next sprint and all those stuff. And in sprint retro, we use the same metrics what we have used during the review. But in addition, we might also want to, put the important improvements or the points like what went well, what did not go well, any improvements and all. So generally, we do that on Confluence. So because we are talking in about only Jira here, so I have not written that. But sometimes when you close the sprint, you get an option to create a Confluence page as well. So this is something more kind of theoretical, but I'm going to show this on Jira now. Let me switch back to Jira. So I understand most of you are already, working on Atlassian, Jira, but still, in the interest or benefit of everybody, let me start with the Atlassian page. So this is Atlassian page, as you know. So there's a tab called products, and when you click on this see all products, it's going to show all the different products which Atlassian has. So if you see, there are 3 or 4 different flavors of Jira Align, Jira Service Management, Jira Product Discovery. So for the people who are new, Jira is actually the Jira software, which is used for by the software teams, for Scrum, Kanban, and all those. And then Jira Service Management is mostly used by maintenance or operations team. It's a kind of service desk kind of product. And then Jira Align is for scaled teams. You want to use scaled agile, then you can go for this. Sometimes organizations use Jira software itself instead of using Jira Align, even for scaling agile thing. So that maybe we'll discuss later. Jira product discovery is for the initial product discovery, and if you want to do kind of design thinking activities, prototyping, and all the stuff, then you can use this. And it also has roadmaps, and you can integrate this to your Jira or Jira Align and other stuff. Now you have other tools as well for project management, which you can use, like Confluence, Trello. Trello is a very simplest, you have simple boards like Jira and very simple workflows, because some people feel that Jira is too complicated, so they use this Trello. So Confluence, Trello are also the mostly used products by people for project management. Apart from this, we have other products like Bitbucket, Bamboo, which I Crucible, which are also used a lot by DevSecOps, especially the teams DevSecOps teams for getting the metrics. So these are the things, and yeah, still able to see my screen? Just
Yes.
give me a thumbs up. Great. Fine. So people who are new to Jira, if you want to start using this Jira, what you can do is just click on this learn more, and you'll navigate to this Jira page. Then you can go to the pricing section. I have already kept it open. So you can see here that there are 4 different levels of Jira. One is free. Then you have standard, premium, and enterprise. So Jira, if you're going to have 10 users, then it's free. So beyond 10, it will start pushing it into the standard mode. So you can register it. You can just click on this, and then it will navigate you to this page. You can give your mail ID, and then you can put a password, and you can set up two-factor authentication and everything done. And then finally, you land up on the Atlassian page. So you'll get an Atlassian ID, and you'll land up on that. And once that is done, Jira is going to ask you to set up your, it basically comes up like this. It comes up this page when you log in, and then it asks you to set up your Jira instance. Okay. Now, what is Jira instance? It is nothing but a kind of, application. You can see. So it will ask you for a specific name or a URL. So whatever name you give, I have given project to program .atlassian.net. So if you want, say, ABC, so it will create an application on cloud. So I'm using the cloud version. Jira also has a data center or server version, but that's not being used now. It's going to be take away. So most of the organizations are now going for cloud. So if you want to create your own instance, then what you can do is just give a name when you log into your Atlassian. for the first time, then it will ask you, do you want to create an instance? If you want to create an instance, then give the simple name, and then it will create an application like this. And then you will have your Jira, your Confluence, and all those with the same instance. Okay, with the same instance. And then you can see that you're on the Jira. Now, if you are being invited by somebody, meaning like, now I have already created my instance and I have a project and I want somebody, some of my team members to come and work on this, then I can simply go to the project settings and there's a tab called people and I can add their mail ID and they'll get an invitation. And once they log into Atlassian, they're on this particular project. So we'll look at this later if time permits, but let's start working on Agile Project Management with respect to Jira. So the first thing is how to create a project, what I have just shown. So let me show you initially how to create a project. So we can start with software development project and then come down and we'll see that when you say software development, if they are talking of all the different methodologies or framework, Kanban, Scrum, top level planning, you can take it mostly like the predictive or the waterfall kind of thing, cross stream planning, all the dependencies and as I said, there are a lot of other things. So now we will start with Scrum. Okay. And then when you're using cloud and cloud Jira flavor, then you have two things. One is team managed and one is company managed. Now, what is the difference? Team managed has a very restricted, permission, meaning like you don't have a free flow on all the configuration. But when it comes to company managed, you can have more, features and all that stuff. So let me create a company managed. Now, just let's give a sample name ABC, and the same key will come up. Key is the one which actually indexes for your issues, and you can see the details, whatever you have selected. I'm using a free version, okay, but you get a what is a trial period of standard or premium as per the Jira pricing page. You can just check that. And then you click on next. Then there is a project ABC which is created. Now, you see, when you are creating for the first time, it asks you whether you want to connect your Jira project to a Confluence page. If you say yes, there will be a Confluence page, space as well as created. So I want to get it created because I already have a Confluence instance as well. So yeah, I'm saying create it. It just takes some time. And once that comes, you just get a continue. Yeah, it's done. So now when I go to this project, okay, so in this project pages, you can add that particular Confluence page as well. Now you see that this is empty. So I go to my timeline view. Now, as we discussed, uh, the backlog, right? It starts at epic level for me. So I'll just put a sample one, epic one. Okay. And then under this, I'm trying to put a story. Now, this is a story for me, just to show you how it works, right? And then this is a story. Now, we have different fields here. And if you want a bug and all, you can schedule it. So let me go to the project which I have already created. This is the one which we were talking of in the slide, right? So we already have multiple epics here. You see there is login functionality, there is sign up functionality, and there are two people who are working on this already. And these are the dates from when it was started and when it has to be completed. And you see a red mark on this because it's a March release, but it has not yet been released. And that's the reason it's showing that it's beyond due date. And even this login functionality, the end date was 28 March, but still it is in progress. So that's why it's showing an error here. So this is the timeline view which I was talking of. And then you have different options here. Now you just want to see a particular release, then you can just click on that and it will show you all the epics and stories of that particular. Yeah. Any questions still here?
Hello.
Yeah.
You have added a version there. So
Yes.
I want to ask about that.
Correct. Correct. We are coming back to that. So now this is the timeline view. So this is the backlog view. So you can either create your backlog from here, like how I showed, epic, stories, tasks, and subtasks, or you can go to your backlog. You can create here. I'm just showing here. So I'm just creating one. I can create one story randomly. Okay. And okay, I'll show this how to do. I'm just showing for now. Yeah. Okay. So towards the left, there is an option called releases, right? So here, there's the option of create version. So now we already have till May. So let me put till June. And we can select the dates here. Okay. And this is font. So now I'll go back to my backlog, the one I just created, this one. And I think I have given March. So let me change it to June, for example. Yeah. So I'll go a bit into this story and show you how the fields will be there. So whenever you're writing a story, generally we have a specific description format, right? Or the acceptance criteria which we have to write as per the organization standards or the client standards. So all those things you can put in your description, or you can have separate custom fields created by your Jira admin. Same like this priority or assigning, you have these are the inbuilt Jira fields. So you can also have a custom field by your Jira admin, and you can get it added here, which is called as acceptance criteria, and you can put the acceptance criteria there. So once that is done, then you have your priority also, all the fields, whatever you can see here, the values here are out of the box, meaning like they are there by default. Now you can get it changed as a project admin. I can change some of them because I have created the project, but some of them can be done only by Jira. Jira admin meaning the person who has created this instance. Instance meaning this one. Project 2 program Atlassian.net. So this is the person who created this instance. So that person is either your Atlassian admin or your Jira admin. So that person will be able to change all the backend functionalities of this particular fields. So now let's say we are adding some sprints, future sprint, story points, estimates. Then we can add the start date, end date. Okay, so there are so many fields like this on your this thing. And coming back now to your board. Okay, back to backlog. I'll just show you one thing here. Yeah, let me close this. Yeah. So if you see, we have sprints here. So one thing, what happens during our planning meeting or during our backlog refinement meeting, you have multiple stories here. If you want, you can even use the epics. Currently, the filter is only on your stories and bugs, risk, and all. So now what you can do is if you feel that this particular story I'm going to work in sprint number 4, then I go here, move this and say move. Now you see this is moved to 4, right? Similarly, you see this is a medium priority, but it has to be worked upon in the next sprint. So I need to make it high or high so I can change. And even during your refinement meetings, you feel that the estimate what we have currently, it's not there. So I want to give something, or I have some estimate and that's not right. And I may give estimate. So I'm giving 1. But again, during the sprint planning, this is the prioritized backlog for sprint 4. During the sprint planning, we use this view, that is the backlog view, and we see that this is a backlog. So what we can do further on this, we can talk about the estimates. We can talk about who is going to assign this particular story. If you want to add more details to it, go to the story view, add acceptance criteria, definition of them, and so on, right? So this is one thing. And then coming to our current sprint. So when you have your sprint backlog ready, say currently we are on sprint 3. So I have my backlog ready. I want to start my work. So how do I do that? There's a start sprint button here. So when you click on that, it will open like this. So when you click on start sprint, it comes like this, and it asks you the name. You want to edit the name, or you want to edit the start date, end date, and you also want to do the sprint goal. Sprint goal is nothing but what you want to achieve in this particular time box, that is the sprint. So you will give that I want to complete this end-to-end login testing and then say update. So once that is done, it automatically navigates to your active sprints, that is the board feature. Now, on this, you see that all your stories will be in to do initially. Because when you start, you have not yet started working on it. So it will be in to do. And then your team starts working. So they pull these activities into individual columns. They start working. They start logging effort and all those things. Now you see that there was an issue. There was an impediment and somebody could not complete, say, this wireframe creation. And there was a reason. What was the reason? Because they need some more information from the stakeholders. So what did they do? They had raised an blocker. Okay, so they had raised a blocker here and they have put it here, and there's a blocked column and they have put the story in the blocked column. And now this risk or blocker is placed in the in progress, and we are currently working on this blocker. So when this blocker is fixed, meaning that when it goes here, then this automatically comes back into in progress and we start working. Now we are done with working, so I want to close this, complete this sprint. Now you can also see that there is something called as due date, by when you have to complete this particular work. Now this is a bug which came in previous functionality, and one of the developers is working on it. So we have given a due date of 2nd April, but he was not able to complete that. So you can see the red mark here. So now I'm saying complete sprint. So it will ask me, what should I do with existing stories and bugs? There is one bug, there is one blocker, there is one blocked story. So when I click on this, it will ask me, what should I do with this? Because they're all considered as not done work, meaning there is spillover. So should I move it into the next sprint or should I move it into the backlog? So you see an option like this. So I want to think about it. I want to decide how important is this right now. Like the login button functionality, it is a bug, so it is very important. It should go to the next sprint itself directly. Now, if a functionality can wait and it has to be moved to backlog, then you can simply move everything to backlog and then pick up only those items which you want back into your sprint, next sprint. But now I just want to move everything into my sprint. So when I do that, I say complete sprint, and you see there is an option of create a retrospective for the sprint. This is on Confluence. Okay, now it is asking us set up your retrospective space. So I can do anything. So initially we created an ABC thing. So if I want, I can do on that. So I can do using a whiteboard retrospective or a simple page. Now Confluence has what do you call this, integration with other designing tools. So you have a whiteboard which gives you very similar features like Figma, Mural, and other stuff. So you can use that for retro, or you can use a simple page and you can do it. So right now I'm not going into Confluence. I'm just saying cancel, and now you see that. Let me refresh this. Yeah. So now you see that the entire sprint 3 items which were not completed have come and sit in sprint 4. These 3 were there. One was blocker, bug, and the story. And there were 2 more items which I have added, and I can see all these things. Okay. So this is the way we work in sprint. Now we have closed the sprint. I'm assuming that my team has given a demo to my customers, PO, and everybody. And now, during the review as well, I want to look at the different metrics or the charts. So I first want to look at the burn down chart of my sprint. So that was sprint 3. So what am I doing? I'm going to the story points. So initially I gave some story points, and then now as soon as my team was working, they kept on closing the stories. And now I go here, I see that this is 2. Okay. So there were 2 story points left over when the sprint was closed. Now the spillover is 2 points. Now, how do you check that? You can go back to your this project, go back to your backlog section in case you want to verify. So let me refresh this. And you check your sprint 4. Yeah. So this is a story which got spilled over, and you see the story point is 2. So that's why it's showing as spillover of 2. Okay. Similarly, you have velocity chart. Now, velocity chart shows over the different what do you call sprints. Now, sprint 1, sprint 2, sprint. Now, there was a problem when I started my sprint 1, though I have put story points and then started my sprint, due to some configuration issues of my board, the committed part didn't come up. Only my after sprint closure part came up. So this is what I have completed, 4 points. And this is 5. And now you see the initial commitment was 3, but I have done 4 points. So ideally, this gray bar should be here as well, but due to some issues with the configuration, I couldn't get that. So this is the velocity chart. Now, how does it help us? Your team, right? They understand like what is the average number of points which they can take into your sprint planning so that they can work on it for the next sprint. Now you see that we committed 3, but we worked on 4. Earlier also it was 5 and it was 4. So meaning that 4 points easily our team can complete. So for the next sprint, that is 4, I can take a minimum of 3.5 or 4 points of work into the sprint. And then you have cumulative flow diagram. Now this is very important for defects rather than stories and all. For defects, how many defects are coming in, how you are fixing it, and all that stuff. So I'll not go into all the reports. Now coming to the dashboards, which is a very, very important thing. Let's get back to dashboards. The dashboard is okay. Now you see that our sprint is closed. So you see most of the gadgets are not present. You see that it says that you don't have any active sprint. So let me show on another dashboard. I have created 2 projects. One is team managed and one is company managed, as I said. So this food delivery app, this is a company managed project. So if you see, we have different gadgets in a dashboard. So dashboard is nothing but a place where you put all your different metrics or different charts for maybe your Scrum Master, project manager, or even your leadership to understand. Now you can have multiple dashboards for a single project. So coming here for this sprint, you want to understand how the sprint has been going and all. So I'm trying to see what is the to do, what is in progress, what is done, how many days are left, and all. So this is called a sprint health gadget. Then you have the Scrum board, and on that you're trying to look at the sprint burn down chart, and then you want to understand what are the different types of work items present or product backlog items, as you say, in your sprint backlog. So all these are those. These are all stories currently. You may have bugs as well, so that also will come up. And then you want to see your team workload. You want to see now in this company managed project, you have different settings. So you can have something called as components. So what I have done is in this food delivery app, I have 2 sections. One is a grocery delivery and one is food delivery. So I'm trying to understand the backlog or how my team is working on what type of work for which component. So you see that this is for food delivery and the remaining work is on grocery delivery. So you can look at that also. And then release wise, how is my team working? So you can see that there are different versions similarly to what we have done in the other project, March, April, May. So here I'm saying release 1, release 2. So I'm just trying to understand in release 1, how many items are in to do, how many in progress, and how many in done. So this is how a dashboard is looks like. And before I proceed to show you how dashboard is created and all, any questions?
I have one question.
Yes, Sudhesh.
Here, let's assume we have one user story, which is um, sized for 5 story points. Okay. In a
Okay.
given sprint, I mean, due to some issue, the story is not completed in the given sprint. Okay. Let's say, for example, development has been completed, but QA is not completed. Okay. If you want to spill over that story to next sprint, okay. So how can we do with this story point sizing? Like, because half of the part is story is completed now. So how many story points will be spilled over to the next sprint? So how can we deal that situation? Yeah.
Okay. So first thing, if you can see my PPT again. Can you see my PPT?
Yes, Padmi, I can see.
Yes, yes, can see.
We can see.
Okay. Yeah. So whenever, if you see here, I have just shown tell functionality, right? And even towards the right, I just shown tell story. Now you can break this further down to subtasks, or you can break a single functionality into multiple stories. Now, what we call this on the, let me open this project board. Yeah. So if you see the Scrum board, the different columns on this board, it's called the value stream. Okay. I mean, for us, it might be just a board and you just put to do in progress done. But in the real time cases, what we do is you try to understand what's your value stream across your project. Meaning, like, it's not as simple as this, right? In your projects, you initially do a what do you say, discovery phase, or you have a requirement elicitation phase with your customers, and then you have your document preparation phase, all your HLD, DLD, your use case designs and all. You get a sign off, and then you do a design, UI design, and then you have what do you call this, development, implementation, and then you have a testing phase. And testing again is broken into different things like unit testing, integration testing, UI testing, and then you have different environments like staging, development, maybe UI has a separate thing, and production and all, and then finally pushing it into production. So just imagine that so many things. How do you fit it into just 4 or 5 columns on your board, right? So when we say Scrum, right, we say that it is end-to-end process, right? From the start to the time you push it into production, or you create an increment. Even though you're not pushing into production, you create an increment which is usable, right? So how do you try to put that entire workflow onto this board? Kanban board, in fact.
Yeah.
Try to understand how you put the entire value stream onto this, and then also break your backlog into the what do you call, the bare minimum thing, so that when you have a spillover, you should not be in a confusion that the entire 5 points are going as a spillover, because you work for three points. So
That's
I'll give you an example. Yeah. So I'll give you an example. For a functionality like what you just said, let's go to sign up. So in sign up, I created a UI. I created a wireframe. I wanted to create a UI thing. My developer has created a UI page and all, but for the testing part, he was not able to, do it. So what you could do is you split it in such a way that you create UI creation as one story, you whatever points you want, 1 point or 2 points, and then testing of this particular UI page is again 1 point or something. So what happens is, because it's sometimes it's not the same individual working on 2 stories. It might be that your developer will be working on the development part, your tester might be working on the QA and all that part, right? So either they work simultaneously or it will be sequential. So these 2 points of development is always done because the developer has completed it. The testing part, the QA may or may not complete. So that will be there in the testing column and left over. So there will be only 1 or 2 story points, as spillover rather than 5 points. Did you get it?
Yeah, I got the point. I basically we the user story, right? We generally take the story points, including both development and testing. We do not separate dev and story points separately, right? So we altogether we take a, let's say for example, dev and QA will become 5 story points altogether, and in the estimation part, okay. But here the thing is, practically, like in the real time, what will happen is like dev will be completed and QA will not be completed. Okay, when we are spilling over the story, should we close that story in the current sprint, and for testing separately we will create a story in the next sprint, or what of the case, what of the correct scenario here?
So my suggestion would be break it into a way that you have bare minimum story points on each of the stories. The story does not always mean that you need to have end-to-end, because if you put 8 points on a story and then you're pushing it to the next sprint, all the 8 points will go as a spillover, because Jira currently does not have this mechanism to capture the spillover, that right. So that's the reason. Sometimes what we do is we try to break it, but that's a bad thing, right? At the end of the sprint, you come to know that no, my team could not do it. So I'm turning that 8 into 3 points and I close there, and then I clone it and create another story into the next sprint.
Exactly.
That's a very bad. Many teams.
Yes, because we are experiencing this in our projects, and what we are doing whenever this kind of situation happen. So what we are doing, we let's say development has been completed, but the testing part is remaining, right? So what we are doing, we create another task, by cloning that particular task, and move development task, done task, to the new task, and we close that development task, and the testing task will remain same in that sprint, and it will be carried forward to the next sprint. So that way the story point will be displayed like that development task has been done with this story point, and the testing task is remaining, so it will be carried forward to the next sprint. So we are following this these operations like this.
But I have a question here, Panchal. Thanks for explaining that. But when you say task, right? Task will create under the
story point. Will all 8 story points will be spillover, or only development part will be left here and only testing story points will be taken?
So let's say 5 story points for the development part and 3 story points for the testing. So for the development subtask, those subtasks will be moved to the new task, which we create by the cloning of that particular task. Once we move that development done task to the new task, automatically it will be closed, and the testing
development is not done, right? Based on the feedback, sorry to interrupt, but based on the testing results, again development has to be done, right? Development work has to be done,
exactly.
Right?
No. So let's development is done, but let's say
Satish, generally what happens, if your user story is not being completed, it is not being considered. Okay.
Right, exactly. It's not about tasks.
Yes. So whatever the effort that you have estimated, relative estimation, you did it, you put it as a 5 as a effort that you are assuming, it will be again gone back to the product backlog. Okay. And if it thinks that a product owner thinks that yes, properly this is something is required for upcoming sprint, it will be again pulled back to the sprint backlog. And during the planning, again, it will be estimated that it won't be like a 5 user story point, because some part of the thing has already been completed in an earlier sprint. So definitely, again, the team will discuss and decide that, okay, now out of 5, 3 user story has already been done. So probably the new story point should be 2. That's how the things work.
I totally agree with the Samir. I totally agree with the
Okay,
Samir.
let's
Yeah.
take this after the session in the Q&A. So there's one more part which we need to complete. In the interest of everyone, we'll do that. And I think that this is a topic which is always, debated. There are always two sides to it. So like what I said, we can, split it before itself, have a bare minimum, story for development, testing separately, or there are times when people split it at the end of the sprint, which I don't think is ideal, but it does happen. And the reasons for this are many, because organizations look at metrics as a very important thing. They have their OKRs and they have their metrics and they have their targets to meet. If you don't meet certain number of story points in a sprint, then that sprint is not called good, or the team is not called productive enough. So there are many reasons why these things are done. So we'll talk of this later. Let me complete the last section in the interest of everybody. So yes,
Padmini, one point regarding that Scrum board you prepared. Is there any way? Nowadays we know everybody is telling like it's not always the Scrum. Okay, Scrum plus Kanban method also we are using. What is called as a Scrum ban.
Yeah.
So is there a way you can show me in the board of Jira? We can set some Scrum-ban board and how to manage the swim lane.
Yes. I'm coming to that part. Yeah, I'm coming to that part. Right.
Okay. Okay. Fine.
Yes. Yeah. Anything else?
Second point also I had, maybe during the dashboard, you prepare the dashboard, correct? So just I want to see which gadgets you have to use to see the daily progress. Means I just want to see every day what my team is burning hours. Okay. So which gadgets you are using?
Okay.
This
Thanks. Yeah. Okay. So for the first question, let's come back to company man. So you can see, you might get a question that where can I actually see whether it's company managed or team managed? Towards your left at the bottom, you can see that this is a company managed. And when you come back to your e-commerce project, this is a team managed. So if I go to project settings here, you see that there are not many options here for the board. They're very, very less. Okay. But when you come back to the company managed and I go to the project settings, you see the options are more. And now I come back here and here you see the configure board, right? So I click on this and this is a general, the filter on which your Scrum board is formed. So by default, when you create a Scrum board, it forms a filter and it's formed on that. You can edit it later, meaning you see this filter here. So you click on this and it will navigate you to the filter. So I'm not touching it now. Let's go to the other thing. The columns, as I was saying, to do, in progress, log, done. So I was saying you need to create your value stream also correctly. So it's a job or accountability of a Scrum Master, or maybe you have to take the help of an Agile coach and you have to fix this. Meaning, like, what is the value stream in our project? Does this suffice to what we actually have in real time? And you have to look at that. Now, you may also want to set a work in progress limit for each of these columns. Like in progress, you can't take more than 3, maybe because of your team size. So you can set that constraint here. Okay. And then swim lanes. Now, swim lanes are nothing but if I go back to active sprints, so sprints is nothing but my Scrum board. So if you see, I have a story here. Now, what if I have a bug? Or what if I have a risk? So let me create one bug here. So it's creating a sample and assigning to my current sprint. we might get extended by 10 minutes. Sorry for that. Okay. Right. And now I have a bug. So I have already created a swim lane for this board. I'll show you how. So you have a bug, so it's coming up on the top. The reason we want to do this is whenever your team comes to this board, they want to see the bugs or the risk or the impediments first. They want to discuss on that. And then they want to go to the stories. So that, all the 15 or 20 minutes in your daily stand-up is utilized effectively. So they start from the top. Now, how do we do this? Go to your configure board. And then you have your swim lanes. Then there's an option here, stories, assignee, and all those. Most of them use assignee or on, some other type of queries. But I generally use it on whether it's bugs, story, tasks, or most importantly, impediments. Like how do you do it? I'll just create one and show you. Click on this. For example, for me, it is risk or impediment. Then I'll put a query. So what is the issue type? Issue type, and then I'll put is equal to, and the issue type should be defined in your project already. So this is blocker, or I would say it is risk.
Now, is it a jQuery? JQL query?
Yes, sorry. Yeah, this is a jQuery query. Yeah. So now you see blocker is there and risk is not there. So I'm just putting a blocker here, and I'm just leaving it. Okay. Now you think that risk and impediment should come on the first, then you put it here, or you want bugs should be coming on the top, just drag and drop on the top. Okay. Now when you go back to the board, it will not appear because there is no risk or blocker created. Only when I create it, like how this appeared, right? So when I create a blocker and I attach it to some of this, then the swim lane will come up here. Okay. And then there are already some quick filters. Like you want to add some quick filters. Like I added that I want to see all the tasks or stories which are assigned to some certain person. You can just click on this person and it will filter out this one. Okay. So this is one of the things I think which you guys have asked. And I think releases and components are very same. Just that components are like your module-wise technical modules or functional modules, which you can create and you can add. Now, how does this help? When you click on this, you can see all the list of these particular backlog items along with your epics. If you tag it to your epics, you can see that. Now, this can start right from the highest level, like if this initiatives or themes or features, whatever you have in your backlog. You can tag from there and you get all these things. Okay, so this is one thing. Now, let me show how to create a dashboard, the last part of our session. So there are two ways. Now, you like some dashboard, some other person's dashboard, you have access to it, you have view access. And if you see there's a copy thing, then just click on copy and you get like this. Then you can copy. I'll just give some, okay, let me leave this name. I'll save this one. Now it's copied. Okay, it's copied. Now I just want to edit it. I can change, okay, for changing the name, I need to do it here. Rename or share. So I'm just giving it sample test. Okay. Now this is one way of creating. You like some dashboard, you take it as a base and go. Now there's another thing where you can show it is create a dashboard here, or on the top, there is an option here. Okay. Now I want to do sample 2 and I want to make sure who use it. It should be private. Nobody can view it. If only my project people has to see, then put like this. And what's your project? It's food delivery app. So all the roles. Now we have not yet discussed about roles and all that, but if you think that it should be visible only for the leadership and not to developers and all, then you can select it here. Right now I'm doing it for the entire project. And editors, if I think I should be only doing it, then keep it private. But if you think that all your project members should be able to edit it, just click on this, add, and everybody in your project will be able to edit it. I'm just creating sample 2. Now, generally thing what we use is there are 31, but this is a free edition of Jira, right? So you have only 31. But when you go with premium or enterprise editions, you have many. So let me take one because I already know a few of them. So I'm just putting this. This is Sprint Health gadget, which I'm showing. So use the name of the board which you have in your project. For this project, it is Food Delivery Scrum Board. I'm using it. Also want to show their signy names. What is the difference between next sprint due and FD sprint 1 is? You want to stay on that sprint, even if the sprint is closed, then take the sprint name. If you think that as soon as you close your sprint, this should show null, meaning like it should show like there's no active sprint, like what it showed for me, then you have to put this. So I'm putting this currently and update it for every 15 minutes. And I click on this, then I'll be getting this particular sprint health catch. So now let's create something with the help of a filter. Now what I will do is, let me go back to, yeah, this. So in this, I want to put a risk register. Okay, I'll go here and there are no risk at all. I am removing the components as well and then no risk. So what will I do? I'll go back to my food delivery here and let's say this is sign up thing and I'm trying to create a risk. Very quickly, I'll try to create a risk. Okay. I'm not assigning it to any sprint as of now. Just saying, okay. And I would want to put it under the sign up functionality. Because this is a risk, I'll just put it high. I am not selecting anything, just create. Okay, now I'll come back to this view. If you are good with JQL, then just click on JQL and type the JQL. If you're not, then go to basic, very simple thing, project food delivery. What's the type of your issue? This one, it's risk. You want blockers as well, click on blockers. Then that's it. You don't want anything else. So you got the result. So now just go here, save as a copy. Okay, I'm saving this as FT risk register. Okay, and I don't want anybody to edit it. I want to have it myself. So I'll do this. But if you don't give the view to everybody, I mean, edit should be only with me, but the view should be for the project level. Otherwise, it won't be visible on the dashboard. So now let's come back to the dashboard. There is the dashboard. Second. Yeah. So now there's something called as filters. Okay. This filter results. So I'm clicking on this. Now I have created a filter which is called as FT risk register. So these are all my filters, some of which are private, some of which are public. So this is visible to my project. Now the maximum is 50. I'm using the same thing. And what all columns you want to display, you can add it here. Now I want the risk issue type to show that it's a blocker or risk. I want the key number, I want the description, I want the priority. I also want to see what's the parent of it, under which epic it is. So I want to add this. I also want to see, I want to see. Okay, let's do with this one. So now if you see this FD21 and the summary, whatever we have written and what it is. So that's what we have it here. Okay, so how does this help us? Now I'm saying just done. So how does this help us? This is the risk register. Your team might be facing a lot of risk or impediments when they're working, right? In the sprint or maybe at the project level. So you can create all these in your Jira project and create a filter, and you can get it here. And then when you are showing this to your senior leadership or steerco meetings, and you can show this entire thing. And now you have an option here to, embed this. Yeah, you can share this and put it in your Confluence as well. So you can embed it. So there are options for that as well. So yeah. Any questions? Any questions?
So how do we track these risks to the closure?
It's through your board. It's through your board. This is just a view, right? You can't now. I just click on this and I'm navigated to that particular issue. In Jira, everything is an issue, right? So you navigate to this, and then your team, whenever they work, you just say that this is in progress. You go back, you see that here. Okay, yeah, right. I have to put the status. You can put whatever columns you want, right? Yeah. So let us put status, and you can also put assignee. Now, for example, this is something dependent on some other team, right? Some other team, like you have to get some API call references from some other team. So what you do is you assign it to that particular, team member of the other project. And now, as a project manager, you look at this and you decide, oh, my team is still working on this, or it is low priority, so you don't need to chase on that. But this is critical, this is a blocker, so you have to chase on that. And there's one more thing, like for example, a certain story of your sprint has been blocked, for example. Then what you can do is you can flag it. As you can see here in the sprint health thing, there's 0. But what if I flag some item? Now I'll just show you. This is food delivery, right? Delivery. I'm going to my active sprints. Now, irrespective of whether team or company managed project, this works. Now, let me go to in progress this thing. I can click here, and there's something called as add flag. Now, I'm adding this flag. Now, this is optional. You can write a comment. You see there is a flag. Now, what does this do? It tells that there is some problem with this. I'm raising a flag. It can be because of risk or whatever. So now you see there is a flag here. So when I click on this, it again takes me to this particular issue. Yeah, the same one which I just flagged, FD14. Okay, so like this, it helps you in your dashboards. Any questions?
So flag is like a tag.
The flag is like a heads up. Yeah, heads up.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So apart from this, you also have labels, which I haven't shown. You can tag labels. Mostly we use releases and components, but sometimes you may need extra, tagging kind of thing for your reporting aspects. So you can go ahead and do labels as well. Sometimes you also need custom fields. The project admin mostly, he may not have the access to create custom fields. So you have to get in touch with your Jira admin and ask them to create that for you. Okay, how to track? I'm sorry. Okay, let us take questions now. Sorry, I think one of the question I've seen is how to track resource utilization in Jira, the one which I just showed, the dashboard part. Where was that? I think this is e-commerce. I think, yeah, I think in this dashboard, I tried to show the gadget team workload, like when you log efforts on your stories, then that can be seen in the gadgets. Or there are other plugins as well available on Jira, but again, they are paid, they're not free. So how do you log efforts? Just go to your particular story. In fact, any issue you can log the effort unless you restrict it. So just go here, the 3 dots, log work, and whatever time you have worked on this, select that and select the date. You can give a past date as well, say for 3rd, and give the date and any comments you want to, and then save. Now this is logged on this. Now coming down, here there is a section of work log. You see I have logged 2 days back. Okay, now coming back again, if I refresh this, that should be edited. You see, 2 days, 6 hours, it has changed. So that way it works. Okay, there are a lot of comments actually. Sorry, I couldn't read it. Okay, I think most of the things were about the spillovers, how to create a VSM in Jira, the value stream management I just spoke of, the board. First, you discuss with your stakeholders, your leadership, your team members, understand what is a value stream, and then go to the Scrum board like what I have showed. In fact, Kanban board also has that. Go to the board and create the columns. Okay. Can we get the recording of the session? Kumkum will reply to that. Please explain Confluence. Confluence is not the discussion of this session, so I'm sorry. We have already gone beyond the time. So maybe in the next session we can do that. What are the things to have in mind before writing a JQL? Before writing a JQL, Mirabel, you need to understand what is the outcome or what is the output you are trying to get out of that. Meaning, like, do you, for example, you just want a list of stories, then issue type story will do. But if you want the list of stories in, say, specific sprint, then you have to add that parameter as well. So it is very, very similar to your SQL. So that is what I understood by your question. So what is your end goal for a JQL? That is what you have to think. And Mithun, Confluence, please. I think we have ran out of time. I'm very sorry for that. If multiple Scrum teams are working in a project, how do we show dependencies on the student? Sorry, this is a free edition of Jira. So I couldn't show that because free edition does not help me to show the dependencies. But generally on the timeline view, I'm just going back again. Generally on the timeline view. So where is the timeline view on your Jira project? This timeline view. You have this, right? So you click on this and you have edit dependencies. Okay, so you can say is blocked by blocks and you can select an issue. Now it is showing only 2, meaning like is blocked or blocked. But when you open this, let's open an issue. For example, I'm doing this one. I go to the top here, add, and then you see linked issue. Click on this. And then you see there are multiple things. It's blocked by blocks, clones, duplicate, relates to, and all. So here you can do any project, not just one. Like, for example, I can do ECP and I can do this one. But free edition, what happens is even if I give this, it might link up, but it might not, show in this particular timeline. So that's the issue. So for that, if you are doing at program level, you have multiple projects, a scaled agile type of thing, you can use roadmaps, advanced roadmaps things. On that, yeah, because sometimes
I think, Padmini, you can stop sharing for now.
Yeah,
it was wonderful session, very insightful.
Yeah, for further queries, I mean, in case you have too many queries and you want to reach out to me, then you can reach out to me on LinkedIn or on my mail ID. You can just take a screenshot of it if required before I stop sharing. I hope you're able to see the slide, all of you.
Correct.
Done?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks. Okay, so that's it from my side. Thank you so much. And over to you, Kumkum.
Thanks for that.
No, it was really, really wonderful, insightful session. I think everybody enjoyed. Thank you, Padmini. Thank you very much for taking out time for this session. And we'll definitely have a follow-up session with Padmini. I'll convince her and I'll just take her time for the next session. And after this session, I'll send you an email with the feedback and your suggestions, what all topics you would like to discuss in the next session. So stay connected with us. I'm sharing my LinkedIn as well. So feel free to connect me over the LinkedIn. I think over the WhatsApp, we can, plan the session and the questions, what we are going to discuss in the session. But yeah, I think it would be too much for her also to answer all the queries over the WhatsApp. So, yeah, I'm just stopping the sharing. Recording.
Will you be sharing